The company formerly known as Taser is already a gigantic player in the police body camera business, and they've got some potentially scary plans about how they would like that technology to be used in the future. I want to give credit to Ava Kaufman of The Intercept for initially publishing some of the details from a technology report released a little bit ago by Taser, from which we're getting some of this information. But before we jump to the implications going forward, let's go just a little bit back earlier this year, where it was revealed that Taser was going to provide any police department that wants it free body cameras along with a year of free data storage, training, and support. That's obviously a massive investment, and so it might seem a little bit odd. What are they getting out of this? And you'll find out very soon. It turns out that they actually store terabytes upon terabytes of this video at evidence.com in private servers operated by Microsoft, to which police agencies must continuously subscribe for a monthly fee. So it's hardly a philanthropic thing to give them the body cameras if they're being paid off massively to hold the footage. But that's probably the least problematic part of this. In February, the company acquired a computer vision startup called Dextro and a computer vision team from Fossil Group Inc. Taser says the companies will allow agencies to automatically redact faces to protect privacy, so that sounds good initially, extract important information, and detect emotions and objects, all without human intervention. Analytics will also allow departments to observe historical patterns in behavior for officer training. So they're compiling this massive database of all the footage coming in from these police body cameras, and they now have the technology to analyze it without needing a human presence. So they can go through it very fast, looking for certain bits of information to train officers. But what about in the future? Well, the company has explicitly said that it will not make predictions on behalf of customers based on the analytics of that data. But that's not what their technology report that came out earlier this year actually said. It said, we may not be quite at the Tom Cruise minority level report of cognitive prediction. Well, that's good. But patterns of individual behavior will become increasingly informative in revealing the probability that an individual will act in a particular fashion. And as our data sets become even bigger, the analytical algorithms will become ever more sophisticated in revealing robust patterns. It is inevitable that predictive policing will expand. I don't view this to be a bad thing, and it's consistent with Taser's two principles: protect life, protect truth. And then they go on to talk about innocent citizens' privacy being protected. But of course, if you're gathering tens of thousands of body cameras a day, analyzing it with AI, trying to predict who will be committing crimes in the future, and this sort of technology is flawed. They're not going to be able to predict necessarily. Is this going to be another source for cops to be unnecessarily afraid of certain people? If some computer program tells them that this sort of person is a little bit more likely to be violent or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I want to throw a few other points into this to highlight them where I really liked where you were going. The data storage question is whose data? I keep telling you, they don't work for you. The police work for Taser in this instance. It's their data and training to do what? Support Taser's goals. And so this is what we're going forward, and this is from Taser, which is the Taylor A. Swift electric rifle. So we don't really point out what it actually is. It's an electronic rifle which has killed over 500 people. And when you say, how did it get this way? How did we finally find ourselves that cops want these tasers everywhere? Well, when I was in logistics in the Baltimore Police Department, and there's a couple of other reports you can find out there, that Taser was giving stock options to police officers for convincing their police departments to adopt the Taser, literally buying them off.
So you're worried that that could potentially be a conflict of interest?
You would think, I don't know, maybe if they're working for private industry and they're working for mayors, they're not working for you. This is what I keep screaming from the rafters, and I'm waiting for the day we can finally make that change.
Well, it sounds a lot like the pharmaceutical companies going into doctors' offices and telling them to push incredibly dangerous drugs in exchange for payoffs of various types.
Yeah, there's this trope now that if you eliminate human discretion and just sort of automate these processes by way of an algorithm or by way of these kind of big data procedures that people are so excited about, you kind of eliminate the potential that human bias can become a factor, or that data can be misappropriated to unduly penalize certain groups. But when the data is in the hands of a private firm whose motive is profit, in concert with police departments who have a whole variety of incentives that they're working under depending on the political situation in their jurisdiction, then of course that's going to become imbued with bias, because the people who are running that system that they're incorporating these kind of big data protocols into are working within a system that in which bias is sort of inherent to it. So this is far from a panacea. If anything, it sort of raises the idea that it can actually be used to further surveil people rather than free them from the constraints of officious law enforcement authorities.
I like body cameras being a little bit more broadly used on cops. I would like that to be deployed in tandem with more of an ability for people to have access to that information. Obviously, tasers have killed hundreds of people, but in a lot of cops' hands, I'd prefer them to have the taser than a gun because they seem like they're going to shoot one or the other.
Fair point.
So I guess there's some good that could theoretically come out of this. But in terms of like trying to predict who's going to commit crimes, I have a lot of faith in technology, but I don't have a lot of faith in humans necessarily. And I don't know that I have a lot of faith in a company that watched Minority Report and RoboCop and thinks that those are good examples of how policing should develop into the future. That's scary, not just in terms of a police analysis, but movie analysis. I don't know what movie you watched that you derived that lesson. So this is potentially scary. This gets into, I mean, this is the plan in 2017, in 10 years, in 20 years. This could be dystopic shit.
Well, we have an Orwellian model of policing. I mean, I keep trying to say that when our answer to force is that the state must have more force, but we have the Second Amendment that says we must be able to have equal force. Well, you get into the police. It started in LA. The police needed more force from the bank shootout, so that's when the realization came. So then they just keep up. Second Amendment rights, we get to have tanks. Well, then we get to have bigger tanks. Well, then we get to have armor. So it's going to continue to be that way where we end up with MRAPs on our streets like we see, and we end up with private dogs attacking Native Americans on their own treaty land. This will continue. And now if you want to combine cameras on everything, if this doesn't scare you, I don't know what can possibly scare you to let that tool in the hands of a fascist regime that we have.
They claim that they'll be able to, quote, anticipate criminal activity and, quote, predict future events. And they can do this in part by just knowing automatically if somebody has a criminal record. So if somebody's just walking down the street and an officer deems them sufficiently suspicious that they can run some kind of analytical check on them, they don't even have to interact with that person to get a whole portfolio of their past behavior. So, if they were convicted of driving without a license 15 years ago, that can hypothetically be used as a justification, even if it's not conscious on the officer's part, but it can factor into whether the officer chooses to initiate an interaction with that person. And as I mentioned earlier, that always has the possibility of escalating into something that could even become fatal. So it's really disturbing.
If Skynet decides, oh, that guy could potentially be dangerous, you're trying to predict the future, but you're leaving out what effect the cop dealing with the guy will actually have on the event.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks. You power this show. Together, we built something amazing. We've broken stories like the Donna Brazile story the mainstream media wouldn't break. We built the studio, we built this network. It's now #1, all thanks to you guys. Let's come build it even bigger and stronger. TYTnetwork.com/join.